Welcome, guys, and here we are just going to take a quick look at what to expect on Football Manager if you are someone who has never played the game before, if you've never picked the game up before, and this one has piqued your interest. We're just going to have a very quick basic look for what to expect and where maybe is easiest for you guys to start off, because there is a lot to deal with if you've never done this before. But trust me, it's worth it. And I think let's just get straight into it. And first of all, you're going to want to look at the obvious. You're going to want to start a new game. It is then going to bring you up to this screen here, online career mode. If you've got a bunch of friends and you all want to play it together, but you've got to commit together, that's fine. And there is other these versions as well, but for the majority of players, and I'm probably majority of people watching this, we are going to click on career mode. Now, quite frankly, when it comes to the team you pick, that's entirely up to you. I mean, you could pick any team in the world, any team you want. You can go up and manage in Canada if that's what you really want to do. But my recommendation, again, it's just my recommendation, but my recommendation is pick the team you support, because especially if it's your first ever save, pick the team you support, because it's going to make some of the more complicated and confusing things so much easier if you know what your team is, and you're going to know who plays where best, and you're going to be able to not worry so much about who's on the team and whether you're picking the right players, because you're going to know the players. So for me personally, I am a Middlesbrough supporter, so I would then go and pick Middlesbrough. And then next, it does bring you to this screen. Choose a game mode. Now, this is new to Football Manager. This has not been in previous Football Managers. So you do have the original, which is the way it was intended. It always has been a Football Manager, where you'd start a career mode, and depending on the update, so if there's been an update, if it's in January, FM will do an update from the January signings. But as of right now, it's brand new in the game. So every transfer done up to the end of the deadline day will be on this one. And when you start the save, they'll all be in your team, ready to pick from day one. If you're to look at real world, similar process to the original. However, players don't sign until the exact day that they signed in real life. So if Middlesbrough signed a player on the 21st of July, for example, when you would click into this, and you would be there around the 1st of July-ish, that player would be scheduled to sign for you, and you would be able to see that, but he wouldn't actually join you until the 21st of July. So that is real world. That is to the date of bringing in the side player at the correct time. And I suspect, again, going back to if you were to playing this game and you have just discovered this video in January and there has been an update, again, if someone joins on the 5th of January, I think you would find that when you started a brand new save in real world, you wouldn't actually sign that player. He would be scheduled to join, but he probably wouldn't be able to sign. He would be scheduled to sign until January, so you wouldn't have him till January. And your world is basically scrapping everything I've just said there. Basically, in your world, this transfer window doesn't exist. Summer transfer window didn't happen, didn't exist. None of the transfers happened. Declan Rice is still at West Ham, for example. Gvardiol is still at Leipzig. None of it happened. You can rewrite history. But for the sake of this video, we are going to go with the original, because this is what most people will probably want to go with, I'd imagine. And what you could do, you could just click Quick Start, and this would load the game up with a few leagues that you have there. But what I would recommend is going into Advanced Setup. And it is Advanced Setup, but it is nothing too complicated. Myself here, this is based on the current Tottenham beta save I am doing, where it does give me access to all these different leagues. But I have only got one playable. That doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to come in, and it's probably going to look more... It's probably looking at something like England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, maybe France. You're going to have 4 or 5 recommended leagues and nothing else. Now, what leagues you want to access is entirely up to you. Obviously, you're going to have access to the team that you're managing in. Obviously, the league that you're managing in, whether that's the league you're in or the leagues below. But you can go in here and you can untick, I don't know, Belgium, for example. Say, I don't want Belgium and I don't want the Netherlands in. I don't want Turkey in, but I want Ireland in and I want Greece. Just for example, click confirm. All that happen is those teams are now, as you can see, available for us. Now, all the leagues that are available in that country, for example, ourselves there, will come up. How accessible that is to you is entirely up to you. And quite frankly, it is judged by the estimated game speed that we would recommend. So, for example, just for the sake of this save, I have all these teams, French national and above, that I can view only. But if I was to say, right, this is the French top division, I want to make the top division playable, but I can view only below. So all the leagues, if I get the right league, all the leagues are viewable but not playable, but the French league is playable. Or you could just pick, I just want to play the top French league in my save. I don't want access to those lower leagues. I don't want to have to view them either. Again, this is all personal preference of who you want available in the leagues. Another thing it does do, because as you can see already, I've added them on as playable and I have dropped down to 4.5 stars. A lot of people say, and I'd probably say, this is determined on your computer. The power of your computer, how much data your computer can handle, basically, and how much information it can have, especially starting in the save. Most people recommend anything no less than 3 stars, purely because anything less than 3 stars, it's going to be a very, very slug between when you go from one day to the next. The load, it's going to be harder and it's going to take longer for your computer to process day by day, which can make it a bit tedious. I mean, if you're willing to wait, computer will struggle, but it is doable. But obviously, myself, I do have I'd like to think a fairly decent gaming laptop. And you are able, again, to pick the size of your database, which will determine the game speed there. Obviously, I pick a large database because I am able to do that. But you can have a play around on here. Like I said, it's not too complicated. Add and remove the leagues that you want to have access to. Choose how much access you want to them. But don't worry. For example, with the Bundesliga, I do have view only. Don't worry, you can, whilst in the save, change that to playable as well. This isn't set in stone. This isn't 100%. It doesn't just, you pick this and you can't change it. You are able to change it where you can add those leagues in as playable in the future. So don't worry too much about it. In terms of your other settings, again, I don't really look at these myself, but you're looking at things like such as using fake players and staff. So that would mean that all your players would have fake names. It would be completely... It would make it more difficult because you'd have all these players, but you wouldn't know who they were. You know, you'd have to basically look at stats and whether you feel like you're good enough. Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic chance if that's what you want to do. Not something I would recommend for a first ever save there. Do not use real fixtures. I mean, it doesn't really matter because after the first season, it's irrelevant anyway, so that's entirely up to yourself. Do not add key staff. This is what that means is if you were to go into a team that, for example, lower league teams more likely, and they don't have a physio. By unticking this, they would fill the gaps in your coaching and scouting and medical staff. But I wouldn't recommend it. Again, add players to playable teams. What that means is, again, if you were to join a team who, say, a semi-pro team in non-league, and they didn't have a full squad, by ticking that, they would just randomly generate players in to the squad. Again, that's personal preference there. If you want to just stick to everything you've got for the first transfer window, I think that's pretty self-explanatory there. Disable player attribute masking. By doing that, it basically means when you were to click on a player, all the attributes would be there straight away. You wouldn't have to scout them. Me personally, if you can't have to scout your players and look into your players, it kind of takes away about 80% of this game. Isn't that part of the game? But if you just want to play and have access to all the stats, play away. Again, prevent control of teams with managers in place, which I guess means you would start in the save and you would be able to only have access to teams with no managers. Again, personal preference. Prevent use of the in-game editor. It is in beta, so the editor isn't out yet. You can. I know a lot of streamers click this just because if you have access to the editor, then people worry or suggest you could change results or change bits and bobs in their favour. I don't think it happens, but if you click that, it just removes any doubt. Sorry. You then go on to click Start Game, and what this will do, it'll tell you this is when your game start is. You're going to be starting in England. You can start whenever you like on those dates. Early pre-season, we're going to start because you want to be at the beginning of the season. It's going to say Start Game. It's going to say you've selected 16 leagues from 12 nations. Again, that will depend on who and what you want access to and what your computer is able to give you access to. It's then going to load up the game and the database there. Then next is going to bring you to this screen where you are going to be able to go ahead and create your manager there. I've just created this one randomly just for the sake of this video here. Again, put your name, where you're from, favourite team, fill in all the bits and bobs. I mean, you don't really need to explain too much about this. It's then going to, once you've picked your manager, if you haven't already got one, obviously I have mine there, which I have on all my saves. You're then going to click Use or Create Profile, entirely up to yourself. And then it's going to bring you to the screen where you choose your managerial style. So if you're brand new to the game, I would just, I want to be Middlesbrough, I would just put suggest badges based on the team that you're managing, which means it's going to prevent any issues with the players potentially listening to you, thinking you were underqualified and causing issues. I'd just click that, but entirely up to yourself. You do have access to different styles, and it will preset them for you. You get the gist. You can play around that if you want. Or you can just select based on that, based on your coaching, which I think is what I'd prefer. And then you just confirm. Would you like to add another manager? So again, if you want to have more than one manager in your save, by all means, go. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go straight into the game. It is then going to bring you up to Middlesbrough confirm the appointment of Test as the club's new manager. And it's going to pretty much always says eyebrows have been raised because you're an inexperienced manager, especially if you're managing a big team. We took over Michael Carrick because technically he is the manager. It is then going to give you some information on the club. So if you do decide to pick a team that you have realistically no idea who they are, what they're about, this does give you a good bit of information. You know, director of football, when we were founded, our rivals, the stadium, the capacity, what kind of facilities we have, our history, granted not much of a history, and our transfer budget you are going to be looking at going forward. It's then going to take you on to your what the coach recommends is your best. So what the team report recommends is your best 11. Again, if it's a team you support, you may disagree completely, and that's absolutely fine. This is just a recommendation. But also depends if you pick a Your World save, for example, this will be a different lineup, so we would have Akpon still in there. But again, if this is a team you've never managed before, it's a good indication as to what the best team is, and it's something for you to work off. It's then going to bring you in to the managing director, who's just going to give you what he wants from you and what the club's direction and the board culture. Do you understand players at age over 30? Again, this changes for each club. Work within your wage budget. We have to reach the playoffs, be competitive in the cups, and win promotion within 2 years, and it is preferred. So things like required, work within the budget. These are the things that are more likely to get you fired. If you don't do it, I mean, if I reach playoffs and halfway through the season I'm in the bottom half, you might not get sacked, but it obviously increases the likelihood, and then it does give you basically a very basic 5-year breakdown there. It's then going to say what the supporters expect and what the supporters want from you. You know, use the youth system, which is obviously, when it comes to Middlesbrough, is something we do. They would like us to play entertaining football, but it's only favoured, it's not needed. They want us to reach the playoffs, they want us to beat and finish above Sunderland, I mean, obviously. And be competitive against a couple of teams. I'm not too sure why. Derby and Burnley are considered rivalries, but apparently they're called as the game they are. And obviously the fans want you to beat your rivals, of course they do. This is where, if I'm a brand new player and it's something I did a few years ago, it may seem tedious, but I 100% recommend you take the time to go through each section: scouting induction, transfer induction. It may seem tedious, but it shows you the little things that does make just playing the game so much easier. And once you've done it once, you don't have to do it again. I think once you've got a handle on the scouting, on the transfers, on the training, it's not something you really have to do again, especially the basics. So I would recommend making sure you give yourself access to all of these. You can send it all today if you like, but you can just let them come naturally. It will then ask you do you want to speak to the media? Do you want to do an inter-squad pre-season friendly? Entirely up to yourselves again. And then obviously it's going to ask you to save the game. That's fine there. So we're going to go save over test there. That is absolutely fine. So there we are, guys. You've officially started your first ever save on Football Manager. Just one example, I won't go too much into it, of what I mean by the tutorials. This is going to take you through what tactics they think is best for this team. Again, you got your own manager. It's your save. It's your career. How you want your team to play is entirely up to you. These are just recommendations by the coaches, is what they feel like is best for the team. Personally, I would stick to one of these, and then bit by bit, as you grow confidence, tweak things, grow. Oh, I want to try this, and what if I put him here and experiment? I wouldn't just shoot into your own straight away, but again, personal preference. They think we should do Gegen press, and that's our preferred formation. Again, entirely up to yourself, and that's going to give you access to this. But as for the rest of the stuff, guys, if you guys are happy with this video, if you guys are happy with me just giving you a very basic breakdown of what the very beginnings of a Football Manager save looks like, and you would like me to look into the first day, maybe week of being a Football Manager, I'm more than happy to come back and break that down for you and maybe give some more hints and tips. Just let me know in the comments down below. Like the video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. Do appreciate it, guys. I really hope this video has helped. It is the first ever video I've ever done like this. I hope it's helped, guys. And good luck with all your managerial saves. Try not to get sacked too quickly. And just enjoy. Thanks very much, guys. See you in the next one.